Hi friends, I'm excited to share a new layout with you today for the Vicki Boutin design team. I'm super excited to be featuring a bunch of the new Sizzix products that Vicki Boutin just came out with, along with the Curiosities and Willow Grove collection from 49 and Market. So I started with these fabulous butterflies, this patterned paper, or maybe they're moths. I don't know if they're butterflies or moths, but I'm calling them butterflies. So I went ahead and fussy cut out a bunch of them in each of the colors. So I did blues, greens, pinks, and oranges. And then I sat those off and I got out the new Vicki Script Thinlits dies from Sizzix. And they also sent me this big shot to use, and I absolutely love it. It is so easy to turn and to maneuver these dies through the machine. I was super impressed. And I love the script. I always love Vicki's handwriting when she does stamps or dies or, pattern papers or stencils or whatever it is in her handwriting. And so I loved these script words. And I cut out first the words "love this" out of one of the yellow patterned papers from the 6x8 collection from Curiosities and Willow Grove. And then I am also cutting out the frames or the mats for this with black cardstock. So I just cut out the layering pieces so that the words "love this" would really stand out. That yellow is a great contrast with the black background. So I went ahead and cut those out and I absolutely love them. And then here I am adding some ink to the background. I knew that I would be using two fabulous pictures from my daughter's birthday day. She had a yes day, and if you're not familiar with that, you can go and research that, but a yes day is super fun. So we got to say yes to all the things that she wanted to do. And we took some pictures at one of the places that we were. There was a big giant like butterfly wings or dragon wings or fairy wings. I don't know what they were, but big wings on the wall. And so she is standing there with her little best friend. And I wanted to feature those photos in the middle of this layout. So I went ahead and built I'm looking for the word quadrants of color. And I did not originally intend for it to be in the shape sort of a circle. It does sort of end up looking like a circle of colors around the page. But I am using the Sizzix ink blending tool, and I love how it has a long stick and it's easy to hold on to, better than some of my short ink blending, little ink daubers or foam daubers that I have used before. So this was a fun little tool to use, and I used several colors, 2 colors of Distress Oxide and then 2 colors of the 49 and Market inks. So the pink color is Picked Raspberry. That turquoise color, or kind of that turquoise green color, is Rainforest. That's a 49 and Market ink. Then the orange is Crackling Campfire, and the blue is a 49 and Market ink called Summer Sky. So the first thing I did was kind of go around. Oh, and then the purple. I did add in a little bit of the Lavender Kisses 49 and Market ink, because the butterfly color was not really blue and it was not really purple. It was more like a periwinkle that maybe leaned a little bit more blue. I don't know. So I just created a color that matched the butterfly wings. So that is what I was doing there. And then I pulled out some stamps from the Floral Layers Stamps and Framelits set from Vicki Boutin. This is part of her new release, and I love the stamps. Love, 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 love them. So I just didn't hardly even scratch the surface with the stamps. I just got one of the flowers and kind of stamped it on the background. And I did, in the places where the colors met, so like where the turquoise meets the pink, I inked that flower half pink, half turquoise. And then I so on and so forth all the way around the page. And I love how that ended up looking. And then I pulled out one of my new stencils from the Sizzix set. So she has 2 sets of stencils in her new Sizzix release, and I am using the Buildable Botanicals. And the floral stencils in this set are fantastic. I actually really, really love both sets. So, but I needed flowers. I wanted flowers on the background to go with my butterflies. And so I used the stencil, and I'm just doing tone on tone. Nothing fancy here, putting the stencil down and adding some color in the same shades. And I'm just trying to put a little bit more ink on the foam blending tool so that it's a little bit darker when I'm doing it through the stencil. So I did a very light color on the background when I originally put the colors down, and now I'm adding it a little bit more saturated color in each of the sections. And then I did have the stencil. I love for the stencil image to go a little bit past where my background ink is. So anytime I'm putting like kind of a blended background of ink down, then I want whatever the stenciled image or stamped image is to go a little bit further than that background. Hopefully that makes sense. So I have just some little pieces hanging off, you know, with nothing really behind them in those stenciled images. And I love how it kind of looks organic and not super perfect. I was not going for perfect here. I was going for layered. So that was my goal. And I love the flowers and leaves in this stencil so much. But really, like, the way that I'm using it, I'm not actually even intending it to necessarily look like whole flowers or whole leaves or whatever it is. I'm really wanting it to look kind of like an abstract background. So that was really my goal here. That's why I didn't like try to color in the flowers or try to color in the leaves with color, because I really wanted it to sort of just be some abstract floralish pattern on the background. And then I took my Cosmic watercolors in coordinating colors. So that blue section, because it was more periwinkle and I didn't have a Cosmic watercolor that matches that, I used a little bit of the blue and a little bit of the purple and splattered them down simultaneously together. And so I get a little blue and a little purple as a final result. And then I used the turquoise in that darker turquoise section up there in the top left. And then if you watch my videos and you follow my processes, you know that one of my biggest pet peeves about the Cosmic watercolors is that there was never like a true perfect orange. So I pulled out one of my Shimmers paints called Carrot Top that I love. And it has very similar properties to the Cosmic watercolors. It dries shimmery and shiny and beautiful. And so I pulled that orange color out. It's a perfect match for what I am doing for the butterflies and for the Crackling Campfire ink color. So I just splattered some of that down. And with the watercolors, like, I'm not adding a solid layer of watercolor or like a certain pattern or anything like that. It's just splatters in each of those sections. And then I did let it dry for a little while. I'm not putting down my photos on top of wet watercolor. It is dry. And then I matted my two photos to the same black cardstock that I used as the bottom layer for the words. So that's just a regular, like, solid black cardstock, nothing special about it. And then the butterflies, I am going to layer and have them look like they're kind of flying in lines around the page. So I will have a trio of butterflies in each section. I cut out 5 of each color, but 2 of the butterflies in each color section are layered with 2, like a larger and a smaller butterfly. Hopefully that makes sense. In the pictures, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it looks on here like I have 3 butterflies in each section, but 2 of them in each section are actually layered. So they have more than one. And then I only added adhesive in the center of those butterflies because I want the wings to look like they're flying off the page to match the photo. So I went ahead and glued down the words love and this to their mat. They're to their black mats. And then I'm going to glue those down. And everything on this page so far that I have adhered down is straight to the background. I don't have any craft foam yet. I will here in a second, but I don't have any yet. Everything right now is glued down flat to the background. And then I'm going to have the love on the left side. And in my fine liner bottle, that is Scotch Tacky Glue, in case anyone wants to know. I get asked that a lot, what kind of adhesive I use. And then here I'm using my pencil to go and kind of just roughly draw some squiggly lines that I'm then going to sew. like hand stitch. I would not recommend this process unless you have some time to invest. You know, I don't mind investing time on a page, but hand stitching is definitely an investment in time and love, and always worth it for me. Like, I always love the end result. So I used tone on tone thread, of course. So I used kind of a bluish, it's more blue than periwinkle thread, but it was the closest I had. So I used blue, and then I went just with my X-Acto knife and poked little holes along the pencil lines that I drew. And I did a loop-de-loo, like a, in between each butterfly, I did like a little loop. I made sure the loops were going different directions because butterflies never fly in a straight line. I mean, I don't think so. I'm not using any scientific knowledge here. I used to teach science, but anyway, moving on. So butterflies to me look like they float around, not in any specific pattern. So that is what I have them doing on my page. And I used just a regular back stitch to stitch through those. And I also stitched through the centers of the butterflies. So I did all of that off camera. Otherwise, this video would have been hours and hours long. And then I went ahead and pulled out some beautiful laser cuts from the Curiosities and Willow Grove collection. And then underneath that title, so underneath love, I have a little white piece that kind of looks like it has stitching on it. It says, "A wonderful way to spend a day," which is absolutely true of these photos. And then on the right side under this, it says, "These beautiful moments." And then I have Seek. I loved in the laser cuts, it looks like black circles that are kind of attached together, and they kind of look like they're hanging on a line. And it says Seek on the left and Discover on the right. And both of the laser cuts on each side are popped up on craft foam, a very thin line of craft foam. So that's really the only thing that is popped up. And then, of course, the wings, once I got done sewing, I went ahead and, pulled those up. So on the final layout, those definitely look like they're flying around. I love them so much. This was one of my favorite things about the Curiosities and Willow Grove collection was this patterned paper with these beautiful butterflies on it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, I have to have a page that's all about that. So this is my first one. I feel like I need another one just because I love them so much. So we'll see. It may happen. But really, all in all, this, like, the actual design of this layout was very simple. The most time consuming thing, if I had not done the hand stitching, it would have been super fast, like a very fast layout. Because I didn't have a whole lot of drying time. I didn't use mediums that were like super thick or required a whole lot of time invested in them. It was pretty simple. Here I'm adding some half pearls and some crystals. The box is from Container Store. Everything in it is from Buttons Galore. And then I am going to go ahead, I was going to say finish with pops of color, but I'm actually not finished yet. So I'm going to go ahead and add my pops of color. And I did, for the crystals and half pearls and pops of color, it's all tone on tone. So I did blue in the blue section, pink in the pink, turquoise in the turquoise, and orange in the orange. And I did add little series of 3 dots along the lines of hand stitching, and I loved how that ended up looking. And then I thought I would live dangerously here with my wet pops of color. I usually do those last so that I don't mess anything up. But here I wanted to go and add a little bit more stamping. There were these cute little sprigs. They look like centers of the flowers in the Stamp and Die set. And I felt like I needed to go and add a few little stamped images of those in the centers of some of the flowers that were in the stenciling. So I just went very lightly and kind of roughly. If you look at the close-ups, like some of them are just half of the image or part of the image. My goal was to not have a super solid, perfect image. It was a more abstract kind of addition. That orange one ended up being really dark, so I add some water to lighten it up. Here in a second, I think. You'll see me. Yeah, I'm going to add some water to kind of pick up a little bit of that ink. And I added a few more splatters of orange. I don't know why. I just wanted to. Felt like I needed a little more. And then that will be this stamping of this little image here, the little centers of the flowers, will be the last thing that I do. And I definitely felt like I was living on the wild side, doing stamping while I had other things on the page that were wet. But miraculously, for the first time ever, I did not mess up my dots. I did not have to go back and stamp or restamp any of them. So here's some close-up video that you can see. And I love all those paints on the background, how shimmery they are. And you can see all of the beautiful stenciling and those butterflies. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. And they're so perfect for that picture of my sweet girl with her best friend. So that is the final layout. I hope you enjoyed the process. I am loving all of the new Sizzix products that Vicki created, and I have lots more to use, and I'm so excited about them. So if you have not gotten your hands on those yet, you should. Everything is perfection and going to be so much fun to create with. So if you have any questions about the process or anything that I used, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Bye.